بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله ولي الصالحين وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is Gabriel Al-Romaani and welcome to another episode of Defense Against Disaster. We started in the previous episode talking about some of the greatest misconceptions. We started naming them and started responding and refuting them. Number one, we said that the greatest misconception, the greatest accusation against Islam is that Islam is a violent religion, a religion of violence. And we said that this is the absolute falsehood. Islam is not a religion of violence. Okay, Islam does have in its vastness an area that talks about war and rules of war, rules of engagement. Like anything, look at any society, look at any religion. Anyone, including Buddhists, who are supposedly so peaceful. Look at what happened in Burma. Okay, what happened to the Muslims? Who did it? How come these people would not touch a fly or an ant will do what they did? Okay, it's very simple. It's because war is part of society. You look at the Roman Empire, which is considered such a great civilization. Look at the Greeks and look at any civilization, you name it. I challenge you to study any civilization and you'll see war was part and parcel. But you see, Islam is under scrutiny right now. It's under the specs. They want to show and point everything. Oh, it's only Islam. It's like a thief who steals, his hand is in your pocket and he's accusing you of theft. Okay? As Jesus, peace be upon him, is reported to have said, how do you look at the little speck in your brother's eye while you have a log into your own eye? Okay? Contradiction, double standards. So we said very clear is that Islam is not a religion of violence. All right? War does not necessarily equate to violence, and the whole world is violent. Okay? This is not our direction. This is not our intention. Islam inclines towards peace. Islam wants to achieve peace. This is very important. The Prophet ﷺ, when he was faced with the choice of war or peace, he always inclined towards peace. Look at the Treaty of Hudaybiyah. They wanted to go to war, but then they made a treaty. Look at the benefits that Islam took from that treaty and from the peace, the 10-year peace treaty. How many people entered Islam? How much goodness was done? It's not that, how are we going to fight today? No. Any person who willingly studies Islam and will see that this is not the case. However, at the same time, we don't want to sugarcoat things. There is war. And we know very well, throughout the seerah of the Prophet ﷺ, in the Quran, in the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, it was there, it was made very clear. It has rules and regulations, as opposed to all the other wars. When you find people, just look into what's happening today, look into the history of mankind and see, even though people have put international standards of war and so on, as if you can have them, okay, you'll find that people perpetrated so many crimes. Why? Because in the end of the day, they couldn't care less. When the responsibility is dissipated, when there's what's called diffusion of responsibility, people feel like they can do anything. Rape, killing, left and right without any problems. Even though they have now so-called war tribunals and so on, still you find that so many crimes are being perpetrated and committed in the name of war. People take a chance, we're at war right now, let's do this and let's do that. How many of those people are brought to justice? You see, Islam laid down very clear rules and regulations. Elders, children, women, religious places, priests and religious people, all these things were safeguarded. Combatants are the ones who are engaged in war. If you look at all the other systems and you compare it to the justice of Islam, there will be no comparison. This is an open statement. We talked about that sometimes fighting is necessary to achieve peace. And we look in the seerah of the Prophet ﷺ, fighting took place. The Battle of Badr, the Battle of Uhud, many battles took place. But that's not the only time that the Prophet ﷺ lived. These battles were actually a small part of his life. What about the life of the Prophet ﷺ as the civil life? And we find so much and so much. But see, people try They want you to focus so you can believe that somehow Islam deals with war. How many verses in the Quran that talk about peace and discourage fighting? And how many verses keep people in check from fanaticism and extremism? I want you to do some research. Try to see how many verses talk about war and how many verses talk about morals and ethics and peace, righteousness, the heart, the soul, not stealing, being upright, keeping your words, not lying. Come look at these morals and ethics and compare them to how many things talk about war, just to see. See, when you make an accusation that Islam is a religion of, well, then you can say Islam is a religion of Tawheed, maybe, because so many, a third of the Quran talks about Tawheed. You can say Islam is a religion of morals and values, because a huge percent, over 80% or so, it's about morals and values. Islam is a religion about prayer and paying zakah and fasting, because so many verses are about that. But you can never say Islam is a religion of violence, because how many verses are about violence? Let us look at the double standard of the world. If you ever take a look at the website of NATO, for example, and you find that it defines what it is, you'll find that it's drawn and designed so nice, and you have all these people, they're enjoying peace. There's the white dove, which symbolizes peace. And they say, this is a political and military alliance that do whatever they to around the world to make sure that peace is kept and security and the environment, and that peace is not taken for granted. So it's very nice. It starts very beautiful. The design is very beautiful. It's very, appealing. Then when you go to some of their next points, you find that it talks about military. So it says NATO is committed to peaceful resolutions of disputes. Of course, that's exactly what Islam does. It's committed to peaceful resolution of disputes. Exactly what happened at the time of Prophet. They say if diplomatic efforts fail, it has the military capacity needed to undertake crisis management operation. Just look at how the words, how careful they're picked. You see, they'll say, Islam is a religion of war, a religion of violence. No, Islam is a religion, let's use their words, that undertakes crisis management operations when needed to. That's exactly what the Prophet ﷺ did. He undertook crisis management operations. You see, the words are so nice. It's almost like you want to hug it, okay? But the reality is, see how they change the words. They want to use the word violent for Islam, but for themselves, they use crisis management operation. So killing children is crisis management operation, as you see around the world. Oh, we've bombed the school. Oh, we're sorry. Oh, we're sorry. It was a mistake. You know what I mean? Come on, let's be honest here. Let's be honest. See, the reality is that, brothers and sisters, under Article number 5 of the Washington Treaty, under UN mandate, okay, alone or in operation with other countries or international organizations, okay, this military alliance has the capability of undertaking military action. This is just normal life. This is just the reality. But again, what do we want to point out? The double standard of people, that they want to attack Islam. They want to show, they want to make you believe that we are mad people. All we want to do is fight and fight and fight. This is not the truth. This is not the truth whatsoever. And people need to open up their eyes, because what will happen is it will create, as I said before, this hatred of the people, this hatred of the Muslims, this fear, and people will take action against it. And we find it more and more Islamophobia on social media, on the internet, on TV, and more uneducated people taking action by their hands, physical action now, and hurting the Muslims because of this. So where is the violence? We find that slowly the Muslims are becoming the victims. At the same time, we do condemn any people who do whatever they do in the name of Islam and so on, who hurt innocent people and think that they can take actions into their own hands, they can take the law into their own hands. This is not correct. This is not Islam. This is not from Islam. We don't make takfir on anyone or anything like that, no. But this is not the understanding of Islam and of the Prophet ﷺ, the way he came. Why do people have double standards? Why do you think that they want to show you? You see, it's the golden rule. And you cannot escape the golden rule. And you want to know what the golden rule is? You're going to have to stay tuned, and you're going to find that out after the break. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Welcome back. You are watching Defense Against Disaster. This is Gabriel Al-Romaani. And I hope that you were following with us before the break. We're talking about the golden rule. We're responding to the misconception, first misconception that we've tackled so far, that Islam is a violent religion. And we said that is not the case. Islam does have articles of war, no doubt, like everything else, everyone else, any other system, any other country. NATO does it, UN does it, everyone has it. But why is Islam singled out? Why do people always want to look at Islam and say, oh, Islam is this? Like Islam is some kind of big monster, that everyone should be scared of. And we talked about the golden rule. What is the golden rule? Say it right now. Do unto others as you... No, that's not the golden rule. The golden rule is whoever has the gold makes the rules. That's exactly what it is. Whoever controls something, they will dictate what is the general consensus, what is the culture. They will shape the culture of a country. They will shape the popular opinion, and they will really change the public opinion. They will bring in their favor, because they're the ones who show and draw the boundaries. They're the ones who put together the measuring stick. What's the measuring stick? What's the criteria? They're the ones who are going to dictate it. How are they going to keep flooding the social media, movies, and so on to change the mentality of people? Look at before. Did people, 15, 20, 30, 40 years ago accept certain social ills that are available today? No, they did not. They didn't do that. But you see, it changed with time, slowly changed. Why? Because media was flooded by these things. Slowly and slowly, media was flooded by these things. So today, if you do not agree with something, you're all of a sudden homophobic. Media was flooded with this. Everyone accepts it now, whether, they say, well, whether I practice it or not, or this or that. Everyone has their own thing, okay? But you see, if you go back in time, people had a different acceptance or a different understanding of this from a social point of view. But you see, because of the flooding of the media, people started changing their disposition for it. So it dictates what is bad and what's good. The line keeps getting shifted left and right. What's bad today can be good tomorrow. And it could return back to being bad maybe 5 years from now. Because there's no real standard. See, Islam has a solid standard of what is halal and what is haram. What is good and what is bad. Very clear. It's been like that 1400 years ago. It is like that in the 21st century. Hijab was mandated back then. It is still a mandate today. Not drinking was still a mandate back then. It's still today. Doesn't change. Doesn't because all of a sudden people think that they can flood the media with alcohol and social drinking, and it's something cool, and smoking and drugs and all that. All of a sudden people say, well, it's good. Okay, let's all accept it. It's not like that. Islam is not about demand and supply. Okay, Islam is a way of life, a deen from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and He's the one who dictates what is right and what's wrong. What do people, again going back to those who control the media, what have they done? They have dehumanized subjects. That's the same thing that they're doing right now to the Muslims. Oh, the terrorist. The terrorist has become some kind of monster, okay, as I said. So because this person is a monster, he is, fair game for anyone. Anyone can take him on, and it's fair game. But remember, look what happens though. See, they're not saying now, oh, some Muslims are terrorists. Right now, you have people coming and saying, well, Muslims are terrorists. Meaning that's the general rule. There might be exceptions, but the general rule is that all Muslims are terrorists. Actually, it's the other way around, right? The reality is that some Muslims, a very small percentage, 0.0 something, are terrorists, and the vast majority of them, 99.999%, are not. But you see, now Muslims become fair game. Because of the look that we carry, someone who might be supposedly a terrorist might have the same look. So this guy comes in and says, okay, this guy has a thing on his head and a beard, and the guy that I saw on TV who's supposedly a terrorist has the same thing. He must be a terrorist. I might have to do something about it, which is, subhanAllah, look how wrong it is. It's an old trick of colonizers to dehumanize their subjects, the ones that they wanted to colonize. Look at the hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of native Indians that were killed. How? They were called barbarians. They were dehumanized. History is very clear, yet still, movies depicted the cowboys as the good people, the righteous one, cool guy with his jeans and his boots and his hat, comes and rolls his pistols and shoots some Indian, Red Indian as they used to call it. Of course, Christopher Columbus got it all wrong because India is on the other side of the world. But you see again, look at the misconception. Till today, people call them Indians. They're not Indians, they're natives. India's on the other side. They're Americans. If anyone has the title or the right to be called American, is those First Nations natives. Do you see the misconception? Do you see the conditioning that has been put into people? If people fail to realize, they still fall prey to these kind of things. Again, why? It's the golden rule. Who's got the gold, make the rules. They're the ones who define what is right and what is wrong. They're the ones who tell you that you're a monster. And they'll make you yourself believe that in the end of the day. You yourself will start thinking that, you look in the mirror, maybe I'm a monster. Because they repeat it so many times. But you see, they're your savior. Remember we were talking about in the other episode, about the image of Jesus and how he was changed. That Jesus himself was brown. He was a Palestinian. He was a Hebrew from Palestine. And his color, and look how media changed it. Why? So that he looks like the conqueror. He looks like the colonizer. And then the people who colonized, were brought this religion that they, this is your God. So they'll accept it much easier. As one of the African writers says that when the colonizers came, they came with the religion of Christianity. And they came to Africa and they taught us about Christianity. And, they brought us the Bible. And we took the Bible. And they said, close your eyes and pray. And he said, we closed our eyes and prayed. When we opened our eyes, we had the Bible, they had our lands. We had the Bible, they had our lands, our earth. Do you see? That's how the deception took place. Right? People changed. The reality is every time, ask the people, go look into the Bible. Go see who was Jesus. Very simple. Why would the people change it? That's the question. It's because they try to trick the people, to make it easier for them to be conquered. They dehumanized. They looked at these people and say, look at these Africans. What are they? They're savages, which gave them again a license to do what? To kill. How many people were enslaved and killed just because they were called inferior? Even though there was slavery in Islam, no doubt about it. We're not going to sugarcoat things. But you need to draw a parallel and compare slavery in Islam versus slavery in the United States of America, for example, where a black man could not drink from the same fountain as a white man. They used to have fountains for colored people and cinemas for colored people and cinemas for white people. And black people had to go to the back of the bus, because we know very well, Rosa Parks. Everybody go to the back of the bus. Look at it in Islam. When Umar Khattab was riding with his servant, they used to take turns on who rides the animal. And when he was entering the city, I believe it was Jerusalem, it was the turn of the servant. And Omar says, no, who to ride the camel? And the servant says, no, I mean, you ride. And he said, no, it's your turn. No, but the people think it doesn't matter. Look, it's not about prestige, it's not. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was dealing away with this social ill of slavery. And that's why he said, they're your brothers. Clothe them with what you wear. Feed them with what you eat. Is that what happened? When did emancipation come? What were the rights? There was no rights. So you see, when people try to hide the truth, when people try to deceive, when people try to change, when people try to lie, it's very apparent. But still, people are blind. People need to open your eyes. People need to learn. We live in the 21st century. No one can trick you anymore, brothers and sisters. or you, non-Muslim who's watching this, no one can trick you. Don't let yourself to be tricked by these people who are running, who think that they have the gold and they can make the standards and they can change things. No, you have power, you have knowledge, you have strength, and you have resources. You are able to do that. Let us move to the second point now. I hope that this is clear. I hope that you understand that Islam is not a religion of violence, that Islam inclines towards peace, that Islam does not allow for violence to be perpetrated against innocent people, that Islam mandates people to be righteous, to be strong, yet to be fair. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, that be truthful and bear witness even if it is against yourself. Do you understand that? Even if it is against yourself. How many stories do we know from the life of the Sahaba, from the life of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Yes, the Muslims went into these countries, and these countries realized the greatness of Islam. What happened when Ali radiallahu anh, when this Jewish person stole his shield, and he had no proof that this was his shield, and that the justice of Islam said, you have no proof? Okay, the shield belongs to the Jewish person. Ali was not just a person who's, just some guy. He was the leader of the country. He was the president. And still the justice system dictated that the shield will go to the Jewish person. And that Jewish person saw the justice of Islam, and he said, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. See, this is how hearts were won in the end of the day. In the end of the day, if you conquer someone, you can force them, you can do this, you can do that, but you can't change their hearts. In the end of the day, what you'll have is a bunch of hypocrites with you who are just pretending to follow something, but in their hearts they don't. See, Islam, yes, did enter countries, did conquer countries. We have no doubt about it. But you see, the greatest conquer was the hearts and the minds of people. They brought tawheed. They brought justice. And that is why we have no problem in saying that, yes, this is what happened in Islam. Look in the history of Islam. It's not that we're just on the defense. There was offense, of course, to spread the message. But they spread justice. And that is why the people were very easily won over. Because Islam, if anything, if you want to say, is a religion of justice. Jazakumullah khair for watching. This is Gabriel Al-Romaani. We will see you on our next episode, Defense Against Disaster, here on Peace TV. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.